Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, I'm KingNido, and today we're coming from Pewter City where the Skulls are coming off a massive win and they want to repeat that here again today because they are going up against the Veilstone Breakers, a side currently on a 4-game win streak. After breaking their losing streak, they've been climbing up the leaderboard and they want to continue this rock climb, but the Skulls, with a matching average physical attack stat between these two sides, want to stop them in their tracks. But with all that said, let us know in the comments below who you think's going to win this matchup. Will it be the rock types? Will it be the fighting types? Let's go!
3, 2, 1, go!
And it is going to be Hitmonlee with that speed control going for the Hurricane, which is not going to be very effective onto Dreadnought, who is joined by that Midnight form of Lycanroc. Lycanroc is going to go with the super effective Leafage, capitalizing on the part Water type that Poliwrath has, and Dreadnought looking to follow it up, does go for the Sleep Powder, so they're going to put Hitmonlee to sleep nice and early on in this contest. This will leave Poliwrath having to do a lot of their heavy lifting, but it has been having a great season here for the Breakers, and it is going to set up the Sandstorm, and that is not a great play there though on the part of Poliwrath, because this Sandstorm has been kicked up. It is going to boost those special defenses of the Skulls, but it's also going to be doing that passive damage to the Breakers, whilst Hitmonlee is also asleep. It has no idea what is going on, as Lycanroc is looking to capitalize with the Venoshock, chipping away here with minimal damage onto Poliwrath. Dreadnought follows it up with the Smoke Screen. This is going to lower the accuracy of Poliwrath, and with it being awake here, it needs to be able to land these hits, and it lands with the Torch Song. Not very effective though onto Lycanroc. However, it is going to boost its own special attack in the process, but that will not prevent it from still taking damage from this Sandstorm alongside Hitmonlee, who has finally awoken, and it is looking to take the action with the Dream Eater, but unfortunately that is not going to work. It will not be able to eat the dreams of the Skulls just yet, but it is the future sight being set up by Lycanroc on to Poliwrath, foreseeing that attack, and Dreadnought is going to follow it up here with the Sticky Web, laying this entry hazard out on the side of the Breakers. Any Pokemon that lands in it, they are going to immediately have that speed stat lowered, as Poliwrath with the Tier 4 look on to Lycanroc here. This is going to lower that physical attack that's base 115, as well as lowering that special attack, and that Sandstorm is continuing to do this chip damage, which the Skulls are loving to see. Any advantage they can take, as Hitmonlee is going with the Forest's Curse. It is going to add that part Grass typing to Lycanroc, and I'm sure when it got hit with the Torch Song, Poliwrath wish it was there, as the Wild Bolt Storm will get that spread damage super effective onto Poliwrath. It is going to put it into knockout range, and Dreadnought with the high horsepower is going to take Hitmonlee out of this match. Poliwrath is going to respond with the Tackle, getting in some good chip damage for a not very effective move there onto Lycanroc, thanks to that critical play, which makes it look a lot less impressive, to be honest, as Poliwrath is still hanging on from the Sandstorm. It is going to be Hariyama entering for the Breakers, immediately being caught in that Sticky Web, lowering that base 60 speed, as Lycanroc with the speed control meets it with the triple arrows, getting in some good damage. Dreadnought following up with the double edge to take Poliwrath out of this match. This is a fantastic start for the Skulls. There will be a little bit of recoil damage onto Dreadnought here, but they do have full speed control, as Hariyama has flinched. It has flinched. This is fantastic for the Skulls, as that Sandstorm has finally subsided. The Breakers, they're going to be sending out their Terrestrial Drafty, being caught in that Sticky Web. It is going to be Politoed. It has a base 70 speed that has just been lowered, but it is going to shed that Water typing. It is going to be taking on this fighting typing, and the Breakers, they need to capitalize on that type advantage that they do have over the Skulls. They only have 4 Pokemon remaining already in the early stages of this match. Lycanroc, still with the speed control, is going for the super effective Psyshock, immediately capitalizing on that changed type of Politoed. Dreadnought following it up here with the Scratch, getting some good damage there onto Hariyama, as Politoed responds with the Foul Play, gets in some great damage here onto Lycanroc. Hariyama is going with the False Swipe, and that is not a shiny Dreadnought, and it's also not very effective, as Lycanroc is going to go with the Whirlwind. This will send Politoed back to the bench and being dragged out. In its place, it is Hitmontop entering this matchup for the Breakers, and it too will be caught in that Sticky Web that was laid out by Dreadnought early on, Dreadnought is going to follow it up with the flip turn. It is going to go back to the bench, but before that happens, it gets in some great damage there onto Hitmontop. Coming out in its place, it is going to be the Skull's own Terrestrial Draftee Bombardier, as the burn up is not going to work from Hariyama. It is not a part fire type, and as we said, Bombardier, the Terrestrial Draftee of the Pewter Skulls, but not just that, it has that champion's experience that it needs to help with the Skulls if they want to make it back into a victory road. They're in 15th place and they do not want to miss out this season, as Bombardier is going to go with the Sacred Sword, taking the action straight to Hariyama. Lycanroc follows it up with the Withdraw. It is going to be boosting those physical defenses. However, Hitmontop here is going to go with the Stuffed Cheeks. It will be chowing down on its berry that does allow it to boost that physical defense a great deal, but it's also going to restore its health as it was holding on to the Enigma Berry, not waiting to take any super effective damage, but it is the Floral Healing from Hariyama, which is going to fail as Bombardier is still at full strength. I'm sure the Breakers are relieved as that foul play is not very effective onto Hitmontop from Lycanroc. Bombardier follows it up here with the Poison Sting, getting in some chip damage, but more crucially, it gets that Poison status condition onto Hitmontop, who is going to respond with the Kowtow Cleave, taking it straight to Bombardier with some fantastic damage, and Hariyama is following up with the Sacred Fire, the 1-2 combination. That not very effective move still gets in some good damage, and it gets that crucial burn onto Bombardier. This will cut into that physical attack base 103, but it will also be doing that passive damage, as we see Hitmontop also feeling the effects of the poisoning in this contest, and it is Bombardier going with the headbutt, putting Hariyama into knockout range, who will be chowing down on its Lancer Berry. It is getting pumped here, but it is Lycanroc who is going to go with the Roar of Time onto Hitmontop, getting some good damage. Hitmontop does go with the Burning Bulwark, but it's already too late to be setting that up, which is not good for the Breakers. They're still yet to get an elimination, as Hariyama is going to change that with the superpower, super effective, taking Lycanroc out of this matchup with that critical play. It does lower its own physical attack and physical defense in the process. It's already an easy target, and we know that Dreadnought is going to be re-entering this contest, but first we do see that poisoning taking effect once again onto Hitmontop, putting it into knockout range. Bombardier also, thankfully for the Skulls, is able to avoid that knockout range, but it's also going to be chowing down here on its Staff Berry that is going to be boosting that physical attack. And as we said, Dreadnought re-entering for the Pewter Skulls, as Bombardier is going to go with the Fickle Beam, and it is going all out for this attack to eliminate Hariyama from this match. A perfect response there by Bombardier here. There's 3 Pokemon remaining for the Breakers. The Hyper Beam from Dreadnought. There is 2 Pokemon remaining for the Breakers because Hitmontop has been eliminated. The Skulls, they get the huge play. We know that Politoed is going to be re-entering this matchup as the burn finally puts Bombardier into knockout range, and the Breakers, they're going to send out Persimmon as their final Pokemon as well. We do see Politoed re-entering this contest, both Pokemon being caught in that sticky web, having their speed lowered as the Skulls try to maintain full speed control. And it is Bombardier with the Water Gun, taking it straight to Persimmon with some chip damage here, as Dreadnought does have to recharge. This allows Persimmon to try and capitalize with the Bulldoze here, and it takes Bombardier out of this matchup with that super effective damage, also super effective onto Dreadnought, lowering its speed, but it also lowers the speed of Politoed, who has taken some damage from its teammate here. They need to be careful. They're the last 2 remaining members of the Breakers, but Politoed with the Shadow Ball following it up on to Dreadnought. Dreadnought is put into knockout range, but it is going to be joined by that Dusk form Lycanroc, who it does go with the Cosmic Power. It is going to be boosting those defensive stats, both physical and special. As Persimmon, it does respond with the Bullet Punch straight to Lycanroc here, getting in some super effective damage as well, but Dreadnought looking to respond does go with the Dual Wing Beat, gets in some great damage with that first one, and it follows it up with the second connection for that super effective damage on to Persimmon. However, it is Politoed looking to respond for its side with the Dire Claw, and they finally get Dreadnought out of this match. There's 3 Pokemon remaining for the Skulls, as the Breakers looking to bring it back. The Skulls, they send out Sudowoodo. Lycanroc is going with the super effective Extra Sensory, putting Politoed into knockout range, as Politoed is going to be chowing down here on its Citrus Berry, restoring its health, and it needs as much health as it can get as the Bubble Beam from Persimmon onto Lycanroc. Super effective. The Breakers, they're trying to hold on to their win streak. They want to extend it to 5, but it's the Waterfall from Sudowoodo taking Persimmon out of this match. Politoed is all by itself. It is going to go with the rising voltage onto Lycanroc. Gets in some good damage here, but Lycanroc is going to respond with the Attract, but unfortunately it is not going to work on Politoed. But Sudowoodo trying to do their part, goes with the Leech Seed here. It is going to be sapping the health of Politoed, and it does not have a great deal of health to work with, as it is going to go with the Noble Roar. It needs to get some quick eliminations. It is going to lower the physical attack of Sudowoodo and that special attack, but whilst that's happening, it is also that Leech Seed sapping the health, as we said, from Politoed on to Sudowoodo. And Lycanroc looking to capitalize, tries for the Sing, but unfortunately that is going to be avoided by Politoed. Again, Sudowoodo trying to do its part, goes with the Rock Throw, minimal damage on to Politoed, who needs to respond with the Wonder Room. Again, it is not going on the offensive. It is going to make it so everybody's defenses and special defenses are swapped, and it will not stop that Leech Seed from continuing to sap its health. Politoed is in knockout range, and Lycanroc goes with the Fusion Bolt to end the 4-game win streak of the Veilstone Breakers, eliminating Politoed from this match. The Skulls, after a massive defeat just a few rounds ago, are trying to rebuild their confidence, and they are doing so, taking down the top side, ending the win streak of the Breakers. They want to return to victory road. And with this win, they have moved themselves up into 10th place, as both these sides will be going up against the Lowland sides next round. It will be the Skulls against the Ula Macros. The Breakers in 11th place, they will be going up against the Pony Stars. But until then, Nidorinos, thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below who you thought was the best on field. And if you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, share, subscribe, but more importantly, always remember, you are awesome. And I'll see you when you see me.